What's up, guys? It is that time. What's up, guys? It is your boy Nate Turner, aka the Pop Star, and today we are going to start our series about my upcoming song labeled Self Esteem. And I wanted to get into a little bit of the background of this song and why I'm writing a song like this and why I'm coming out with a song like this. So I hope that you guys can enjoy this series and maybe learn a little bit more about me, or, you know, if you are a person that is going through issues with self-esteem, hopefully you can relate and, you know, learn from these experiences, and hopefully we can all be better for it. So let's get right to it. So today we are talking about self-esteem and where this song is really coming from. So a little background on this song. I wrote this song maybe 3-4 years ago, right at the beginning of when I was making music to begin with. So I remember writing the idea for this song actually like 6 or 7 years ago. I was going through a rough time, moving back home, doing a lot of stuff, but I started writing the lyrics maybe 4 years ago now, when I first started making music just for fun. Nothing that I really planned on releasing. Just I have a bunch of songs like that are a little personal, and music is a way for me to express myself in a very positive way, and that wasn't as negative or destructive as the ways that I've been expressing it before. So I wanted to release and write music like that was a little more personal to me. So if I had some things that were on my mind or really weighing heavily on my heart, that I could speak to it. So Self-Esteem is a song about how I struggle with the self-esteem issues of, you know, worrying about really what other people were thinking, and living my life as doing things that everybody else thought I should be doing, but not really knowing myself and how I should be basically living my life, only just living it by how people told me I should be living, not really in a way that, you know, made me feel good about myself, but it made other people feel good to see, oh, he's doing this, and this, so he must be doing okay. And at that time, I was not in any way, shape, or form. So I wanted to write about those experiences and that feeling that I was feeling of, you know, I have all these friends, I have my family, you know, I'm in a relationship, but I don't feel like I'm doing any of these things for myself. And for me, it was an extremely, I felt it made me feel selfish if I wanted to do anything for myself. But what I didn't realize is that not working on myself and not bettering myself wasn't actually having a positive effect on the people around me, for starters, and it wasn't having a positive long-term effect on me and how I was able to handle certain situations in my life. Because let's be honest, if I'm not at 100%, I can't even really give 100%. So there were a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of stress that went into that. And around 4-5 years ago, when I was really writing this and really in this headspace, my son was just being born, and, you know, I was living a different life that most of my friends or my family weren't really living, and to try to meet expectations that I didn't really even hold myself to. I just wanted to show that I was doing all the things that people said I should be doing, was really hard on me, and put a lot of strain on my relationships and myself through a lot of different nights. So that was basically what this song was about. Was that, hey, I'm struggling with all this stuff, but nobody really knows, because I felt the need to show and tell people a certain side of Nate Turner that I only wanted them to see, or I thought that they wanted to see, which caused a lot of people to not really know who I was as a person or what I was like as a person, and it was a hard time there for, I would say, like a 5-6 year stretch, where I was just struggling with a lot of different things. So, to begin, I'd like to go back to the past, to my earlier years, and to show why I was struggling with this. And I'll try to break this up into multiple videos so that people don't get just dragged through some 20, 30, 40-minute video of me just talking about myself, which makes me feel uncomfortable, but I think that it's good to talk about that. So, and my dog is here. Come here. Hi. This is her. Hi, Pumpkin. This is Selena. Say hi, Selena. Yeah, you just came up here for the kisses. I know. I know. As some very few people know, I was born with ADD and ADHD. And a lot of people I know nowadays is kind of taken on a slightly different meaning, and people's experiences are a little different. Most people that I know have really more of an ADD side of things, which is attention deficit disorder, which in very simple terms means that you have a very hard time paying attention to long things that really don't really pique your interest, or even if they do pique your interest, you have a hard time focusing on things for a long period of time. ADHD is attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, which basically means that a lot of the things that you want to do may not make sense to a lot of people around you, but two, a lot of the decisions you're making are snap impulse decisions. The impulse control is where I struggled a lot in, and having attention deficit disorder. So those two things kind of combined, I'm not going to get into everything about that, but those two things combined made it very hard for me to socialize or feel social in a lot of different settings, because my brain was just boom, 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 boom all the time, and I didn't really know how to control that, especially at a young age, especially with growing up and being a teenager, and going through adolescence and going through high school, even already dealing with being a teenager and dealing with those emotions. It's dialed to about a 50, because all the decisions you think you're making feel very impulsive, and everything that you're doing just feels kind of spur of the moment. So that was a real struggle for me, because I would do things that I thought were okay, and then people would tell me, no, you shouldn't be like this, you shouldn't do 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 this. And that was a huge problem for me, because I didn't know who I should be then. So I adopted a lot of different personalities that I thought that weren't myself, trying out different things, trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And especially when I was in high school, it almost wasn't cool to be just like this nice, happy-go-lucky guy, at least from what I saw, or at least for the people who were telling me. I guess I didn't have solid friends around that time. I think I did have friends, but I didn't after school. I did not hang out with anybody. I didn't go over, hang out at people's houses, really go to sporting events with people. I never went to a single party. I didn't go to any of the school dances in a group. I think I went 1 year in a group. I was basically, it felt basically that outside of just school itself, I was by myself. And it was a lot harder than my family knew, to deal with that every day, because I felt like I could be myself or whoever I thought I was at school, but then I could go home or outside of school. I was like, I don't know really what I'm doing. And I don't think that my parents really knew how much of a struggle that was for me. My parents were very great. My mom was doing her absolute best as a mother to, help make sure we were getting the right things, and keeping education and the church and God at the forefront of our minds. But I also think that, especially with ADHD, it was a hard time for me to really focus on so many things at one time, that my brain was all over the place and I was doing more things. It felt easier to me to just be a people pleaser and please that, and just, give the people what they wanted. But really, most days, it was very hard for me to come home from school and be depressed and feel anxious about going back the next day, but then still have to feel like I had to put on this personality or this show for people to either be funny or be mean or something that I was trying to be, that I knew that I really wasn't. So growing up like that, and I know that my mom and dad really tried their absolute best, but I don't think that they truly understand really what it meant or what it felt like to grow up with ADHD, and especially as severe as I had it. I was on medication for a long time for it, but even that made me feel horrible. And I don't think that people really talk about that side of taking medication, prescription medication for ADD or ADHD, is that the side effects of that, some of them aren't really that great, because I don't think I had the correct dosage, one, for myself, and nor did I feel comfortable talking about it. I felt like, hey, yep, I'm supposed to take this medication because my mom is telling me to, not because it makes me feel great. Not that I felt like it was helping me. It actually made me feel extremely depressed almost every single day, and extremely anxious almost every single day, taking that. So by the time I got to high school, it was really taking myself off it. I think I'd been taking it since third or fourth grade, and I couldn't do it anymore. So most days I would go to high school and try not to take it. But then I started realizing that as soon as you've been taking a prescription drug like that for long periods of time, just immediately trying to cold turkey and cut yourself off from it was a lot more detrimental than I thought it was. Now that I look back, I know that, but at the time I was like, nope, I don't have to take this medication anymore. I can pretend to tell my mom I'm taking it, but I'm not. And it caused me to get in a lot more trouble at school, because then, on top of my brain firing now on full cylinders, I wasn't used to that. So a lot of my impulse control was not there. There was no control. So any decision I was making was just off the dome. Immediately, as soon as I wanted to make it, boom, I was doing it. So yeah, I think that caused a lot of more issues. Caused me to say and do a lot of things that I didn't think about what the outcome would be. Also, while being a teenager, and you don't think of a lot of the decisions or outcomes of any of the choices that you really make for the long term. So yeah, I think that a lot of those things really put me in my own head about what people are really thinking about me. Are these people calling me weird? And being bullied a lot for being the person that I didn't know what I was doing. And if I could ever go back in time, I think I would go back in time and just tell myself, like, hey, like, just be nice and be yourself, and hey, don't do that, that's wrong, or hey, that's not a smart decision, because I think it alienated me from, one, building real friendships in the long term, because whatever I thought I was doing, I couldn't it wasn't the right thing to be doing, and it was causing whatever friendships I did have to not go well. I remember it was really bad for me. I had transferred schools after the sixth grade for seventh and eighth grade to Emmanuel Lutheran. Go Bobcats. Um, but I remember the anxiety that I had felt starting a new school. I had known all my other friends since first grade, and now to be starting a new school, I don't think that any of those situations, not to get too much into it, but any of those situations or friendships, um, I handled well. I think I mistreated people. I think I made very poor decisions trying to just do what I thought was funny. And it may have been funny one time, but my brain, moving as fast as it was, thinking, what do I got to do next to get the people laughing or get this person to like me? And I could do something to make one person like me and, 15 other people hate me for it. So, or these people think I'm weird or something like that. So there's so many situations where it was so hard to be there, at least for me, because I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and I had to also keep up with schoolwork and trying to be social at a time where your body and your mind are changing, and you're trying to make new friends. And I think there was a lot of days that I would just come home from school. I couldn't even do my homework, which is why I started falling behind in homework. And my mom was on me all the time about, hey, get your homework done and do this. And I wanted to, but my brain would just shut down at the end of the day because I was so anxious about, you know, um, who I was trying to be, and I didn't even know who I was. So I'm thankful now that I still have some of those people as friends, because I don't know if I would be friends with me now, based off of that. I think that I grew a lot from that time, but I think that those initial interactions at a young age definitely put people off, because I see a lot of those people. I think we're all friends on social media and stuff like that. And I watch them, and it's great to see how we've all grown, and we're all 26, 27 now, and it's crazy to see. Man, I'm so proud of these people. People getting married, people having kids, doing all these things, and I'm like, man, I wish, like, these people are really really cool. Like, I wish I had um, gotten to really get to know them and actually um, be friends with them, because um, those are the people I've known the longest, I feel. But I'm at a point now that I'm just like, I can be happy from afar, but it still sometimes reminds me, and I'm like, man, I blew that opportunity at that friendship, like, or I missed an opportunity with this, because there are times, at least when I was writing this song, that I would sit back and be like, I'm not getting invited to anything, um, because they're not my friends. They know me, and I wasn't great to them, or wasn't cool to them, or whatever the reasoning was for them, whoever they saw. But I think that some of those things bother me, because my self-esteem is like at a zero most days, and I don't believe highly in myself or the friends that I even have. I just think, man, like, these people hate me. Like, so that's a really hard part for me um, to get around most days, and it's hard for me when I have friends that they don't talk to me, because I want to talk to my friends or my family almost every day. But I don't think we're getting older now, and um, you get busy, and people have life, and I want to talk to my friends and see how they're doing, and catch up, and have those friendships that, I didn't get, because I felt like I was blowing it. So I think some of those things, when I was growing up, were really hard for me, that caused me to always second guess myself in everything that I was doing. Um, so I think that as a start, a lot of that, comes from, not really having people around me who understood me. And like I said, I love my mom, I love my dad, I love my brother, but I felt even different from them. And even to a couple years ago, I think that, it took me a while to realize myself that I can go out and try to please people, but that may not even be what they want, because I overcompensate in that area. And then if I don't get the result that I was wanting or hoping for, I get extremely let down. And again, sometimes with that emotion, I don't know how to deal with it. My brain just is all over the place, with that, and causes me to have that sort of breakdown where I either get extremely sad, or extremely anxious, or extremely depressed. And normally my go-to for that emotion is to just be angry. Angry that it's happening, and mad that it continuously keeps happening, when it's something that's not in my control. So at a younger age, it was just something that always bothered me. So I think that writing this song, it stems from, um, a spot like that, just having that level of ADHD, and trying to deal with that for a long time by myself, with zero people understanding, for the longest time, that that was something I was dealing with. And I could pray every night, but it didn't really change, you know, what I was feeling, or what I was actually concerned about. Um, I just wished. Now I don't as much, but I wished so much that I could just go back and change things now that I know better. And that's probably everybody, but I, my self esteem was not. Um, I don't know. It wasn't handling those situations, well, and my self esteem kind of suffered from that. So, and it definitely took a hit in those younger years and into the after effects, those later years, um, because of that. So.